wait very patiently before we do get things underway. Storm, a popular deck that kind of rises and falls in popularity, but is definitely on the incline right now.
Oh, definitely. I mean, another card that you see a lot less of, at least game one than you used to, is Spell Pierce. Way less of those floating around the room, and that's really good news for Bryant.
And Bryant's a player, and whenever we are in this area for Legacy, he's always making a deep run, making top 8 a large percentage of the time. That trophy, though, that's still something he's looking for.
But off to a reasonable start here. 6-2 is going to be a tough spot to top 8 from, but the field does look flush with good decks. I mean, we're seeing a lot of mid-range blue strategies come back without a lot of disruption. Elves is very popular. Death and Taxes. The Delver matchups can be hairy depending on exactly what's going on in their 75, but it does not seem like a bad field to be playing Storm.
Zane going to take a second mulligan here, so the 6 cards he looked at he was not very happy with. Though I got to give Zane some credit. Mulligans to 5 here, notwithstanding. A solid beard.
Very good beard.
Yes. His face is very warm here today, I'm sure.
Yeah, good metagame call, so to speak.
I had a little beard action last week, but I got a haircut and shaved. I'm kind of regretting it now. And you just can't grow anything.
It's true.
In there. It's tough to watch.
I shave once a week. It's before I fly out to a show.
Nice.
And I'm good until the next week.
Nice.
And even then, I would still be fine. Like, I shave because it would bother me. But in terms of getting away with it on the air, I could probably not shave for a month. And it would be.
You know why you shave? Because you're a professional. That's why you shave.
Professional-ish.
I try to give you a compliment, you just won't take it.
You know, it's okay. I appreciate it, but I'd rather just be accurate. Professional enough?
That works. Oh boy. Okay then.
Whoa. Slow down.
No interest in slowing down. Here's a Lion's Eye Diamond. How about a second Lion's Eye Diamond? How about an Infernal Tutor? How about cracking these in response? No interest in slowing down. That resolves. I think we're going to play a turn. Here's an Ad Nauseam. Bryant is not messing around.
No reason to play around. Force a will opponent on 5 cards, and who cares anyway?
If you have it, that's cool, and if you don't, that's cool too.
Yep. His hand's not going to get better, and the minute your opponent has lands, well, all of a sudden Thoughtseize matters and Daze matter. So it looks like he's not playing around Force of Will, when in reality he's playing around a bunch of other cards by trying to go for it on turn 1.
Bryant going to turn over a bunch of cards here. Brainstorm among them. Follow this up with a Chrome Mox, a Duress, Lotus Petal, Infernal Tutor, another Infernal Tutor, Cabal Therapy, a Duress, an Infernal Tutor. Might be time to pump the brakes now. He's going to do a little bit of math about what he can do. He's going to cast a Dark Ritual. This will just be his hand that's face up. Now here's a Duress to make sure the coast is clear. I guess he's actually going... What's interesting here is he's Duressing, I think, to get info.
Yep.
And I thought that Zane might concede to conceal his deck.
I thought there was a really strong chance.
But he won't do that. So now here's a Rite of Flame. There's a Chrome Mox. That'll put a spell on there. There's a Lotus Petal. Here's a Lion's Eye Diamond. You can tell that Bryant has done this a couple of times. This will be a Burning Wish. With this on the stack, he will crack Lion's Eye Diamond. He'll get some black mana, I imagine. And many drills. Bryant Cook, it only took a turn. But he does win game number 1 here over Zane Knapp. Storm up a game over Esper Deathblade.
I can see why this deck has its charms to a certain segment of the population.
It depends on what you like.
Winning on turn 1 is sweet. I mean, that is pretty sweet.
Killing yourself on turn 1 with Ad Nauseam is kind of sweet too.
Yeah, who knows?
I've done that before.
Could play out a bunch of different ways.
My opponent played a Wild Nacatl. I played a turn with Ad Nauseam. I killed myself. Perhaps I should have slowed down.
Maybe.
What was the rush?
Revisionist history.
Yeah.
What's the rush? You get hit for 3.
Go to 17.
The next turn, like, who knows what could happen?
Probably take 5 the next turn.
He has another Nacatl and a Reckless Charge, and all of a sudden your Ad Nauseam shut off.
That's true.
Might as well just go for it.
We'll take a look at the sideboard here. We're going to start with Zane and his 2 Crows and Grips, so rest in peace, a Grafdigger's Cage, a Counterspell, an Engineered Plague, a Countless Judgment, a Flusterstorm, a Manriki Gusari to find with his Stoneforge Mystic, a Circle of Protection Red in case he gets paired against you, 2 Meddling Mages, a Pithy Needle, a Toxic Deluge, and a Zealous Persecution.
So Zane's a little bit lighter for this matchup than I would like to be in his seat. 2 copies of Meddling Mage are very nice here, and then a copy of Flusterstorm as well. The Counterspell is good here. Past that, you get into some secondary options. Rest in Peace, Grafdigger's Cage. You know, they're good against a percentage of Bryant's draws, but not good all the time. A little light for this matchup, given how bad it is game 1.
On the other side, what do we have here for Bryant?
3 Abrupt Decay, 3 Xanthid Swarm, 2 Pyroblast, 2 Pyroclasm, a Massacre, a Tendrils of Agony, and Empty the Warrens, a Past in Flames, and a Treasure Cruise. So, Abrupt Decay does not strike me as necessary, though if he's anticipating Meddling Mage, maybe he'll bring in preemptively. The Xanthid Swarm is mediocre against a deck without that many counterspells. I like Pyroblast just fine, and I don't think that any of the sorcery speed targets for Burning Wish are worth sideboarding in.
Yeah, we saw in the last match when he was playing against Elves, he maybe wanted to sideboard in some of that stuff, like one of the Pyroclasms or a Massacre or something like that, but in this particular match, I don't think he needs to do that.
No, I don't think so either. You know, the only sideboarded cards here he can really split the difference of is the Pyroclasm. There's 2. The rest of them are either multiple cards that he has multiple copies of that are not sorceries, or they're singletons to wish for.
Well, I imagine we're probably going to play a little bit of a longer game here. These players are going to shuffle up and get ready for what is likely a longer second game. But while we do wait, we will talk about the chat being back on here for SCG Live. You can join the feature match area right now.
You can hop right in. If you are not a subscriber, you are in slow mode chat, which means you can post once every 2 minutes. But if you do subscribe for $4.99 a month, you get access to unlimited posts, subscriber-only mode chat, and custom emoticons and badges.
And of course, we do have some sweet emoticons here. Myself, your general disappointment, as always. Matthias, always a happy guy. And then we've got our penguin and our turtle and others on the way, thanks to you guys in the chat. So if you have any ideas, definitely drop a line in the feature match area. Twitch.tv/SCG Live. Feel free to sign up to become a premium member.
This is a professional-ish face that I have in that emoticon.
I think that's accurate. Ish.
Yeah.
Ish is very accurate. We'll see if Knapp can get something going this game. Bryant, no messing around. I also like that Bryant just not afraid to move in on turn 1.
Well, your opponent's have 5 cards, so the odds they have Force of Will plus blue card in their deck, much less in their hand, you know, it's all pretty low. And then in Legacy, once your opponent has 1 mana in play, there's all sorts of disruption they can bring to bear. Also, you're on camera. Killing on the first turn on camera is sweet.
That's true. You could be part of a best of SCG Live moment there, and really that's what it's all about. Brian sending his hand back pretty quickly, so he's going to be down to 6 cards. So you bring up the important points. You're on camera. What are we even doing?
Right.
Let's just get this over with.
Also, if they have Force Will, you know, you have an Underground Sea. They've got 3 cards in their hand. Who knows? Still anyone's game, potentially.
You can rebuild.
Yeah.
Looks like Cook is happy enough with his 6. Knapp is going to play an island and just simply pass the turn back. Cook will play a copy of Polluted Delta. He'll pass the turn back. Here's an end turn Brainstorm. So 3 cards coming here for Zane. 2 cards, of course, will go back.
And it does appear as though Zane has Force of Will. He's got a little bit of play to him this game at least.
Zane, of course, going to have to draw one of these cards. He just has to figure out which one it's going to be. So he will draw. Other one on top of his deck, of course, from Brainstorm. There's a fetch land to make sure he does not draw that next card. So we'll go down to 19 via Flooded Strand. We'll see what land he wants to search up here. Looks like he's going to go with a copy of Underground Sea. We'll see what the follow-up is going to be here. It's a discard spell, and a powerful one in Thoughtseize.
It's a great opening here for Zane.
Cook's hand has a Burning Wish. See a Lion's Eye Diamond and Lotus Petal and just a couple of lands. So not a lot going on there. And if you're on Bryant's side, you are certainly going to be playing a longer game than that first one.
Definitely. I mean, the most likely scenario here is Zane takes your one piece of action, which is the Burning Wish, leaves you with a lot of mana. So you are really only a draw or two away from having something very explosive.
Cook gonna play a copy of Bloodstained Mire and pass the turn back over to Knapp. Knapp gonna draw. There is a Plains. Now here's a Stoneforge Mystic. So it's time to search up some equipment.
So right now Zane has the mixture. A Thoughtseize, a Force of Will, a blue card, and now a piece of pressure.
That's the recipe.
And Bryant's hand's not very good.
So Batterskull's in hand, Stoneforge Mystic is in play. See if Knapp has a discard spell to cast, and he does not. So Cook's gonna take 2 here, sacrifice both of his fetch lands and go down to 18. Underground Sea is land number 1. And Volcanic Island is land number 2 here for Cook.
In Zane's list, I'm assuming no copies of Wasteland floating around here.
I'll take a quick little look. Does have Caracas and a Creeping Tar Pit as far as some value lands go, but no Wastelands here. Sometimes you'll find 2.
You do see them periodically.
But again, Wasteland on that sharp decline. Misty Rainforest is land number 3 there for Cook, and just a passing of the turn, back over to Knapp. Knapp will draw. Getting ready to put a Batterskull in play, picked up a copy of Rest in Peace for the turn, not a bad one. So Cook's Build of Storm a little bit different. Pass and Flames is definitely a way he can go, but not reliant on that card.
Yeah, it's definitely a secondary option for him.
Not just gonna pass the turn back with Stoneforge at the ready. There's a Delta. We'll kick it back. Stoneforge Mystic going active. Batterskull coming in. Cook can think for a moment here, but it's going to be good to go there for Knapp. So the Germ Token in. Now it's time for those beatdowns, most likely. And it will be an attack here for 4. Stoneforge Mystic actually hanging back on defense.
Sort of a good sign here if the plan is for Zane to put another piece of equipment into play. If you're Bryant, you're pretty thrilled. Though if this was Zane's plan anyway, I think he would have been better served brainstorming first, because it's possible he draws something so good that he'd rather not put the equipment into play and cast whatever it is that he drew.
The brainstorm can certainly affect his decision-making process.
For example, he picked up Meddling Mage. That's very good chance that's better than putting an equipment into play.
Yeah, that means that now he's missed a point of damage. I think he's come to that realization too. And every point of damage matters, especially when you're playing against a deck that has ad nauseum in it.
For sure. I mean, this is still not the end of the world here because he has 7 points of power in play and Bryant's at 14, so it's 2 turns regardless, but it definitely can matter against ad nauseum.
Meddling Mage is going to come down and name Infernal Tutor. The typical name nowadays.
Yep, it's hard to cut him off of the mana because there's so many different ones. You can name Dark Ritual and then lose to Rite of Flame, or you can name Brainstorm and lose to Ponder. But Infernal Tutor is almost always required for them to go off. So it is the safest thing to name.
Cook gonna draw. Can he find anything that's useful? There's a Misty. You see his hand. Mana's not the problem.
No, he's got plenty to work with.
Does have a Pyroblast in hand too, so he actually has an answer to the Meddling Mage. Now I'm gonna take a look at his graveyard. Perhaps a Treasure Cruise hiding out in his hand. He's gonna come in here for 6 points of damage. Cook gonna go a little bit lower. There is a land. Now it looks like here's a Rest in Peace. And given the construction of his mana base, this looks like a situation where Knapp just missed another point of damage because he can't put Sword in now. Doesn't have white mana. I guess he can hard cast the Sword or play True Name Nemesis, but Stoneforge hanging out. That's 2 points of damage that's been missed.
Yeah, some indecision here. And as you mentioned, it all matters against a deck that's trying to go off with ad nauseum. It doesn't matter in terms of Zane's clock. He's going to win the game on the same turn regardless, but giving Bryant extra points of life is very, very dangerous.
Cook could be at 5 right now.
With 2 fetch lands in play, he might have to crack. I mean, he may not be able to ad nauseum for very much. Not going to make a difference, but it easily could have.
Zane Knapp going to win game number 2 here against Bryant Cook. As for Deathblade and Storm headed to a 3rd and final one here to close out the day.
You can see post board, again, Zane, I think, is still not really with enough on the sideboard to make this matchup positive, but you can see the influence of the post board. Cards that he has access to. Meddling Mage is very powerful. Having access to more discard, more counter spells. He had a really good mixture of cards that game.
Yeah, things get much better after sideboard. I mean, it's ugly game 1.
I still think it's ugly post board. I mean, if you had to balance out what his percentage is in the matchup, I think it's definitely south of 50%. But the post-board games are not nearly as dire as game 1.
I would agree with that. I would agree. I mean, it's interesting because game 1 is so bad and Cook just killed him on turn 1. So it's like, okay, this game's bad anyway, so we might as well just get it over with.
Yeah, if you had to choose the game where he has the turn 1 kill and you mulligan to 5, it's going to be game 1.
Yeah, it's that game. So, it's weird to call that a fortunate thing that happened there for Zane, but in reality it is because game 1 is, I don't like to put percentages on things, but maybe 20% in his favor.
Yeah, it's not good.
Yeah.
It is not good. You need a lot to have a good matchup against Storm. A couple counter spells, a couple discard spells. That's not enough.
Especially if they're skilled with the deck. They eat that for lunch. It's easy for them to beat. But a lot of that stuff and some pressure, that's what's important. That's what Knapp is looking for here. But Cook's going to be on the play. Last time he was on the play, we only played 1 turn. Let's see about this time. Cook's going to keep. Knapp will as well. Here's a Gataxian Probe to see if the coast is clear. Don't think he's going to be thrilled with what he sees in Force of Will, but at least he knows about it.
I wonder if he was contemplating a counter spell there.
That's what it seemed like.
He was deliberating there for a minute.
See the hand there for Knapp. Force of Will, Ponder, Stone Forge, a Deathrite Shaman, a Meddling Mage, lands, plains, and Creeping Tar Pit. So Cook's got that information written down. So he wants to move forward.
A bit of a clunker, but becomes very good if he draws untapped mana for next turn. As right now, the Creeping Tar Pit on the first turn is pretty rough.
Oh, there's Copy of Underground, see?
Perfect. Now he's got to play.
He's considering either casting Ponder or Deathrite Shaman here. He's going to go with Deathrite Shaman and simply pass the turn back. Cook will draw. Just a polluted Delta in play right now. Pick up a copy of Lion's Eye Diamond. And play a copy of Underground Sea. Here's a Brainstorm. That will resolve. So 3 cards coming here for Bryant. And 2 cards will go back.
So Bryant's got to be able to cobble together a kill and push through Force of Will. Not the easiest thing to do, but we've seen Storm do it plenty of times.
Oh, yeah. Pass the turn back. We'll Cook over to Knapp. Vendilion Cook the draw there for Knapp.
His hands are coming together very nicely here. I mean, Vendilion Click's a great draw here as well, especially paired with the Meddling Mage.
There's the Plains. This is Meddling Mage. Last time he named Infernal Tutor, so wouldn't be surprised to see that be the case again.
Without working with any specific information, I have to assume that's the name.
And we will get confirmation on exactly what the Meddling Mage did name, as Cook is going to sacrifice his polluted Delta right now.
So this unlocks Zane to have access to mana at least 1 time with the Deathrite Shaman.
Meddling Mage goes with Burning Wish this go around, switching it up a little bit.
Well, I guess the logic there is Burning Wish is also likely to be necessary for Bryant to go off. And if you suspect he has access to Massacre or Pyroclasm in the sideboard, the way this game has opened up, Burning Wish is really dangerous. If he gets a Massacre here, you might just be out of the game.
Yeah. Cook will draw. There's a Misty Rainforest. He'll sacrifice that right away. We don't see him do this a lot, so perhaps it's time for a little bit of action.
Yep. I mean, this is a very confident move here, preemptively breaking or just immediately breaking this fetch land. He knows he has to beat Force of Will, but usually when they act this fast, it means they're ready to go.
Perhaps he's clearing the path with a discard spell. Yep, there's a duress.
Bryant has done this to me before in the past, by the way. I know what this means.
It's an uneasy feeling, that's for sure.
He also knows that the draw steps, or knows one of the drop steps was Underground Sea, and sees the other one was not Force of Will.
He's not taking the Ponder with that duress. He's taking Force of Will. Yep, it's showtime. There's a Dark Ritual.
Yep, I've seen the dice before. Just having some flashbacks to an invitational.
Frank gonna break both LEDs with Inferno Tutor on the stack. So that's 5 spells. Feels like an ad nauseum is what he'll be searching up.
So this is turn 3, potentially through Meddling Mage and Force of Will?
Yep.
Sure. Another day at the office.
For him, it is.
Another day at the office.
He's got to get that Meddling Mage off the table, presumably to win. Because right now, his deck is a Burning Wish deck, where he Burning Wishes for Tendrils, but it's not out of the question that he just boarded Tendrils in.
He could have boarded Tendrils in, and we also know that he has 2 Pyroblasts that we saw last game, so he can also just find Pyroblasts and then go from there.
Yeah, also the potential to board in empty as well, and just say, okay, I'll make 1,000,000 tokens, because you can see Knapp's hand. He can't do anything about that.
Right. I think that the empty the Warren's route's a little dangerous to go to against Storm, because sometimes, if you're playing Storm in this matchup, because maybe they have Supreme Verdict or Engineer playing a percentage of the time to hedge against it. The easiest way to win from this spot, obviously, is just with some spells.
Cook down to 7 now from Duress, 6 from Dark Ritual, 5 from Cabal Therapy, 4 from Ponder. He's going to look at his sideboard really quick to make sure there are no 4s in his deck, like Tendrils, like Past in Flames. Make sure he doesn't make that mistake. Wants to know just how far he can keep going. He knows it's safe. Still at 4. Down to 2. Burning Wish, the big one.
Yeah, and there's a lot of mana there, a Pyroclasm and a Burning Wish.
Yeah. So here's Dark Ritual.
The question is just, does he have enough red mana available? And with the mana he had floating plus these Lotus Petals, I think the answer is yes.
Yep. And there's Pyroclasm. That's going to clear away the threats. Spell count is plenty high. He also has a Lion's Eye Diamond in there too. And he's going to cast Infernal Tutor, revealing Lion's Eye Diamond to go get another one.
Yeah, this gives him enough mana. Now he has 2 Lion's Eye Diamonds. This represents 6 mana for Burning Wish plus Tendrils. Yada, yada. Got it all.
Sometimes this deck looks so simple. It's anything but that.
This is turn 3, again, through a Force of Will and a Meddling Mage. And Zane actually drew pretty well here. I mean, finding an untapped land for turn 1 was really important in the way his hand was.
Yeah. Does beg the question, one thing that we did see is the playing of a Deathrite Shaman to start the game. That never did anything.
Well, I think, you gotta cast it. You can't take it with you, but...
Well, it's that, that or a Ponder. Those are your options there
sure.
in that sequence. And, is he better served playing Ponder to maybe try to find a Thoughtseize or maybe another copy of Force of Will, one of the sideboard cards? Maybe yes, maybe no. But Deathrite over the 2 turns that he got to play or whatever didn't actually have an effect on the game.
It's true. I think that in that spot, because the Storm deck often has Cabal Therapy, you're best having 1 copy of Force of Will in hand and then trying to ponder down the line for another copy of Force of Will. There is some merit to using it, to pondering for a discard spell, but then are you going to spend turn number 2 just casting a discard spell? I think Zane kind of has to get the ball rolling there. He has Force of Will in hand. I think that I like casting the Deathrite Shaman there. It's pretty close, but probably all for naught in any case.